Hello everyone, my name is Maria and today I wanted to talk to you about a great game called Life is Strange True Colors. We just finished playing it on my channel and I wanted to share my thoughts and feelings with you about this game. We are going to talk about the story told in this game and about its most memorable characters. Obviously there is going to be a lot of spoilers here, so if it's not a problem for you, I hope you enjoy this video and feel free to share your thoughts and ideas in the comments. The first thing I'd like to discuss is what the game is about, so let's recap some major events that happened in Life is Strange True Colors. We start this game as our main protagonist, Alex, who is going to a small town, Haven Springs, to meet her older brother Gabe. These two are being reunited after several years apart. So right in the beginning, we can see that both Alex and her brother Gabe are nervous but excited to see each other. After their first meeting, we get a look at Gabe's everyday life, where he has friends all over town and everyone knows and likes him. For example, there is a small flower shop with Eleanor and Riley, whose family business is an essential part of Haven Springs. There is also Charlotte and her son Ethan, who are the closest people Gabe has in Haven Springs. They're basically his family here. There is also the Lacan family with adorable and sweet Ryan and his father Jed. Jed is the owner of the local drinking establishment and a hero of Haven Springs, at least in the beginning. I would say that these people are the main cast of the story, but we also have Mac, who is Riley's boyfriend, and Duckie, who is a local person. To be honest, I am not entirely sure what his role is. Is he the mayor of the town or some other representative of local government? In any case, Duckie is a well-known person in Haven Springs. And of course we have Diane, who is an employee of the local mining company called Typhon. And we are going to discuss all these characters in detail in the second part of this video, right after we finish up looking into the main story of this game. So, as I was saying, little by little, Alex meets all these people and they seem quite friendly. They know her as Gabe's sister, and some of them adore him so much that they automatically welcome Alex as a great addition to this town. However, for Alex, this is not as easy as it might seem, and we see it through her texts, journal, and inner thoughts. We can see that she is nervous and wants to reconnect with her brother more than anything else. One obstacle in her way is her power. At least that's how Alex sees it. At the very beginning of the game, we find out she has magical empathy. She feels what other people are feeling, but these emotions can overtake her sometimes. It is most applicable for rage, as she had a lot of problems connected to that in her past. Oh, and I just realized that I forgot to mention Steph, who is also a major character in the game. Depending on the player's choices, she can either be Alex's friend or a romantic interest. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, so let's continue. The first struggle in Alex's way is Mac. He's jealous and impulsive. He decides that punching Gabe in the face is the best option to resolve their conflict, even though a simple conversation with either Gabe or Riley could have been a better solution. Mac came to Gabe's apartment full-on angry. Of course, Alex started feeling it too, and Mac's emotions overtook her. She lost control and started punching Mac in the face. And it was very hard for her to stop. But perhaps it was a blessing in disguise, because this situation allowed Alex to have a great and meaningful conversation with her brother Gabe. Depending on the player's choice, we could either tell Gabe about Alex's powers or not. From my experience, telling him felt amazing. He was understanding and respectful, and he even said that Alex is some sort of a superhero. I personally believe that Alex needed to hear that, especially coming from her big brother. After the incident with Mac, another one occurred. Ethan got lost, and Alex, Ryan, and Gabe needed to go to the old mining site to rescue the boy. Even the mining site itself can be scary. It is especially dangerous for an unsupervised boy like Ethan. To make the matters worse, there is a scheduled blast at the site today. As soon as our characters realized they needed to rescue Ethan as soon as possible, they called a 24-hour hotline provided by Typhon. When they found Ethan, he was extremely scared. He almost couldn't move, overtaken by his emotions. Ryan, as a park ranger, followed all the safety protocols and asked Alex to cross the bridge and bring Ethan back so they could return home and forget that ever happened. Unfortunately, as you know, that's not what happened. Typhon didn't stop the blast. So when it happened, Gabe couldn't move away from the falling stones in time, and he died. Alex and everyone who knew Gabe in town were grieving in their own ways. Ryan and Steph lost their best friend, Charlotte lost her partner, and Ethan lost a father figure. Both Ryan and Ethan blamed themselves for what happened. Ryan felt responsible as he was the one who was supposed to know what to do and how to keep everyone safe. Ethan blamed himself because he got lost at the mining site, leading everyone there to rescue him. Alex, having reconnected with Gabe just a day ago, felt all the unfairness of the situation. So she decided to investigate Gabe's death herself. She saw him make the call and knew someone was supposed to answer. At Gabe's wake, we find out that it was Mac who was supposed to get the call from Gabe, but he denied receiving it, and nobody understood why. Even Riley found it suspicious. Thanks to Alex's power, we discover that Typhon tried to keep Mac quiet and intimidate him into silence. We know Mac received the call and told Typhon to stop the blast. Naturally, our second suspect is Diane, the only known employee of the company. Through a clever scheme by Steph and Ryan, Alex obtains a flash drive with confidential information related to the accident. I would like to mention here one thing that really puzzled me when I was playing. To create a diversion for Diane, Alex is asked to choose who is going to flirt with Diane, Ryan or Steph. And my logic here was that I don't want Ryan to flirt with another woman because I need him for myself. But somehow the game interpreted it as me liking Steph more. Was anyone as confused as I was here, or is it just me? But while all of this is happening, Steph, being Steph, decides to cheer up Ethan because he is a kid and it is very hard for him to deal with all of this. So Steph organizes a LARP event, a live-action role-playing game for Ethan, which is based on a set of comics that Ethan draws for fun. Here, I must admit, Steph's organizational skills are incredible. The game she made for Ethan and the whole town was immersive and creative. She is a very talented person. She is also a dungeon master, if that even applies in live action role playing, I'm not sure. But anyways, she did an amazing job. She transformed her record store into a magic shop, and the Black Lantern became a magical and mysterious tavern. We could discover all those different creatures and scrolls scattered around the town. Just simply amazing. Ryan was adorable as all those enemies Alex and Ethan had to fight. I also love the fact that the game offers us a lot of options for dealing with monsters without even fighting them, even though I missed all of those options. During my playthrough of Life is Strange, I somehow visited all the locations in the wrong order. Because of this, I couldn't bribe the troll or put the snake or sea monster to sleep. I also forgot to do something else, but I can't recall what it was. But as a person who enjoys games like Dragon Age, Baldur's Gate 3, and all the other more classical RPGs, it was an absolute pleasure to experience it within the Life is Strange universe. After LARP, we get a chance to visit the Spring Festival, which is a local event of the year. Everyone comes together, listens to good music, plays some games, and finds friendly or romantic connections within the community. For Alex, it was a chance to perform and sing for the live audience and experience what it's like to be a part of a community like this. To be honest, I think that LARP and Spring Festival are more important to this game than one might think. It is my personal belief that many other examples of media forget that we want to see our characters actually happy, at least sometimes. I see it very often in TV shows, books, and other games, when the characters can't even take a breath without being thrown into a dangerous or stressful situation. I honestly believe that a lot of stories forget how much we get attached to the characters and how much we want to see them live their lives. In Life is Strange True Colors, experiencing the Spring Festival felt amazing, and nothing really special was happening. Yes, Alex performed on stage and we helped some guy count beans. It just felt good inside. Tell me what you think about this. Should all games or TV shows just keep us on edge all the time, keep us wondering, hey, what's going on here? What is going to happen next? Or can they allow us, at least for a couple of hours per season or per game, to enjoy a more simple side of life of our characters? After the Spring Festival, we see Pike approaching Alex and taking her to the police station. There we see Diane is trying to charge Alex with computer fraud or something like that. So basically, she tries to punish Alex for stealing the flash drive, which makes sense, because Alex did obtain it illegally. And from the point of view of storytelling, I'm glad that this storyline has consequences. But as a person who is rooting for Alex, of course it was a bit devastating. So Alex is given a choice of signing an affidavit saying that she will not defame Typhon and will stop trying to investigate further into what happened. Again, depending on the player's choice, Alex can sign or refuse the document. And here I'm in the minority of players. I decided to sign it. Because you see, Typhon was threatening Ryan and Steph, and I don't think Alex would put them in danger. And I personally stand by it, but I know that your opinion can be different. To be exact, more than 70% of you think differently. But it's okay, and I think it's the beauty of this game that we have choices and we can see the consequences of these choices. So, after my Alex signed the documents, she came back home and didn't really know what to do. She knew the truth. She knew that Typhon was covering another blast with this one, that they were trying to hide something before the inspection. Alex definitely didn't want to give up, which she decided to tell Jed of all people, who, as you probably already know, wasn't the best choice. I figured out that something is definitely wrong when I realized in the middle of the night Jed decided to take us to the mining site, to the place where he presumably saved all those people many years ago. Alex had no reason to go there alone with him. It was dangerous, but I understand why she did it. Jed was trusted by everyone in town, Gabe included, and he was seen as a local hero, so why would she doubt him, right? And here we find out that Jed is one of the people who are trying to hide Typhon's secrets, and one of the ways he wants to do it is by shooting Alex with a gun. And here the game made another interesting decision. While Alex was struggling physically and fighting for her life, we, as players, got to experience flashbacks of Alex's life, or perhaps to be more exact, of Alex's traumas. We see her mother die in the hospital, and we are there with Alex when her father leaves her and Gabe completely alone. We see Alex struggle through being by herself when Gabe goes to juvie, and we see with our own eyes how much it hurt and how much it affected her. This section of the game is done truly masterfully, and it really benefits from the choice of this type of media. As you probably know, there are a lot of people who underestimate gaming. They don't see it as something that can be meaningful and serious, but Life is Strange True Colors shows us how wrong these people can be. And games with stories, characters, do exist, and this is definitely one of them. The fact that Life is Strange True Colors Art is a game allows us to be in Alex's flashbacks. It allows us to interact with her past directly, and it's the closest we can get into immersive storytelling when it comes to characters. Of course, there are media like theater and other things like that, but gaming truly allows us to be the character, to decide what they do, what they touch, what they see, which is fully intertwined with the plot of Life is Strange True Colors in a most brilliant way. So, when Alex is able to stand up and try to get out of the mine, she is rescued by an object that radiates with feelings. She sees its light and she is able to follow it. When Alex comes up close to it, we realize that it's her mother's necklace, which Alex threw at her father when he was leaving Alex and Gabe alone. And it makes sense that her father was working in Haven Springs. It doesn't feel like a cheap plot twist that exists there just for a shock value. Because in this moment we realize why Gabe chose Haven Springs. It is a small town with a population of a little bit more than 1,000 people. It is rare for a person to choose a town like this without any reason at all. And here we see that Gabe was looking for his father. That is why he was there. And it connects the story in a beautiful way, which is meaningful and understandable for us. When Alex gets out, we have a chance to go to the town council meeting with Diane, Jed, Eleanor, Duckie, Charlotte, Ryan, and Steph. Oh, and Pike. They are once again depending on player's choice. Some people will support you while others won't. But it's not the most important thing here. Perhaps it is, but I don't know what will happen if no one supports you. But generally we are there to tell our side of the story to people in this town. So after confronting Jed, he starts to feel emotions so strong that Alex is able to channel them and talk to Jed as if they're completely alone. The truth comes out for everyone in the end. After this, we get sort of an epilogue for Alex, where a player can choose what are Alex's plans for the future. She can do them alone or with her chosen romantic interest. And my Alex decided to end up with Ryan and travel the world with him. It didn't seem appropriate to me to stay in Haven Springs with everything that happened here. I really wanted for both of them to have a fresh start. For Ryan, learning that the closest family and one of the closest people you have in your life lied to everyone for many years. It was truly shocking, and I think it would be better for him not to have constant reminders of his past life, which in some sense was a lie. And for Alex, Haven Springs is a place where she lost her brother and father. And of course, she found new friends here, but I wanted her and Ryan to be able to start their new life somewhere else. And now we're going to talk more about characters of Life is Strange True Colors. I was honestly considering making another video on this topic, but I will probably come back to a lot of points that I made in this video, so I hope you're going to enjoy this part as well. And with no particular order, let's begin. I don't know why, but I want to start with Charlotte. Charlotte is a part of this game that I simply cannot let go. I still think I made a mistake of taking her emotions from her, and now I'm going to talk in more detail about it. As I mentioned, Charlotte was Gabe's partner, and they seemed to be genuinely happy together. We get glimpses of their relationship in the very beginning of the game, when Gabe buys her flowers for some small fight they had. We also get a couple of memories about Gabe and Charlotte, and we know that she talks about him with love and care. Charlotte is a well-written character, and there is no doubt about it in my mind. She is a mother, at the same time she is a business owner and an artistic person. She is also shown to be a great friend to Riley, Steph and Ryan, and I love how multidimensional she is. It is very easy for a lot of games and other media to create a typical character of a mother who is caring, tender and responsible. Charlotte is still all of those things, but she doesn't feel like her whole identity is being a parent. There is nothing wrong if being a parent is the main thing in your or somebody else's life, but we have enough examples of this in the media, and it is good to have other perspectives on the topic. Also, Charlotte's statues and other works of art are genuinely interesting. I loved when Alex was talking to her about Ethan after LARP. The decision of creators of Life is Strange to make Charlotte angry with Ethan was brave but honest. I think that this by itself deserves recognition in terms of storytelling and the way it is represented for the player. When Charlotte was making the statue, the sound of her using the tools resonated with me a lot. I'm not sure what exactly was the reason, but it kind of felt like a clock almost, this boom, boom, and very monotonous, very persistent. It is a moment that the player will remember. So overall, as a character, Charlotte is amazing. I don't think I would necessarily be friends with someone like her, but it is definitely a person I would respect and value as part of the community. And now let's talk about Ethan, her son. Ethan is a boy who is very creative and artistic, just like his mother. He is excited about the world and wants to play and, be a kid, at least before everything that's happened. He created a character of Eleanor and an exciting magical world with swords, enemies, and other fantastical things. Unfortunately, when Gabe passes away, Ethan has to deal with a lot of thoughts and emotions. And to be honest, I think that for such a young kid, he manages it quite well. He's trying to help people around him and tries to live with what happened. I'm a bit conflicted on my general consensus about Ethan. On one hand, I still feel like he's a little bit underdeveloped as a character. On the other hand, I wish to learn more about him besides him liking to draw, play video games, and spend time with people he likes. But there is another thing. He's quite well written for a kid. As we all know, in many forms of media, children can become props, to be frank. If it's not a family show or a show focused on kids' characters, they're often an afterthought. It doesn't feel like that here because he's an essential part of the plot, but at the same time he's a bit one-sided even though he goes through a major trauma throughout the events of the game. I just wish there would be a little bit more of him, something that would help us feel like he's more real. At the same time, maybe it's done intentionally, because if he would be too realistic, perhaps it would be too painful to see a kid go through everything Ethan goes through in the game. So overall, I really like Ethan, but I would be glad to see more of him in the future, if it's possible. And now let's talk about Gabe. Gabe was Alex's brother, and we can see that he was genuinely a good person. He tried to help people around him, and he was very positive and enthusiastic about life. Even though he definitely made some mistakes along the way, he made sure that he did everything to overcome them and build a better life for himself and people around him. We see that he cared a lot about Charlotte and Ethan. He tried to read about how to be a better father figure for Ethan, and he tried to make Charlotte happy and show her he appreciated her. We also see that he tried to find Alex and his father, as we find out a bit later in the game. So he demonstrated a lot of good qualities, and I like how subtle it is throughout the game. Maybe subtle isn't the right word here, but what I mean is that, yeah, people talk about him being great all the time, but we also see it in the notes, in memories, in little things that he did. It's not just everyone telling us how great he was. We can actually see it by witnessing his actions and intentions. Gabe was also a great friend to Steph and Diane. We see glimpses of their friendship, and we see that all three of them were pretty close. Maybe in their own way, but we see the connection between all of them. To be honest, that's what Gabe is all about the connections with other people. We see that he had relationships with a lot of people around him. All of them except Mac were positive. The reason Mac didn't like him is because Riley liked Gabe a little too much, and Mac couldn't handle it, even though it wasn't in a romantic way. And there is also another thing I would like to mention, and I can't really decide if it's good or bad, but Gabe definitely feels like a wife dying in the beginning of the movie trope. You know, when we get a few happy moments with a character who's usually the protagonist's wife in a lot of movies, where she's almost perfect. And then we see how much people cared for her. This is the same for Gabe. Yes, the game tries to tell us that he had problems, but we didn't really witness them. We know he went to juvie, we know he had fights with his father, we know they had some struggles with Charlotte, but we didn't see any of them, which makes Gabe look almost perfect. And again, maybe it's a good thing. I'm not entirely sure. I will leave it to you guys to decide what you think about it. Maybe you disagree completely. And we have a couple more characters to talk about. I must say that I will leave Alex, Ryan, and Steph to the end, because I think the perspective on these characters can differ a lot depending on who is your chosen romantic partner in the game. So let's continue. Now I want to talk about Riley. Initially, I was very excited about Riley. I loved her character and her personality a lot. She seemed sweet and she's nice to people. She loves computers, video games, and she helps Eleanor to take care of the flower shop. After I finished the game, I spent a bit of time on Reddit and I saw that a lot of people agree that Riley would also be a great option for a romantic interest. Even though she leaves for college before all the Typhon crime is revealed, I think it could still be possible if the developers wanted to take that route, but in any case, Riley is very lovable and it has been an absolute pleasure to get to know her in this game. In contrast with Gabe, we see that she's not perfect. We see that she decided to date Max and in certain circumstances even stay with him after he was aggressive and impulsive towards people she cared about. We also see how she breaks the law by helping us to decode the flash drive. Yeah, she is helping her friends, but it is still quite illegal. I'm almost sure of it. Anyways, I loved reading SMS from Riley and it was a shame when in the middle of the game our communication with Riley suddenly stopped. Yes, one of those opportunities was missed by my own fault. I didn't see her at the bus stop, but it felt strange anyway, because in the first 40% of the game, she felt as important as Ryan, Steph, Charlotte, and then she just kinda disappeared, which was a shame really. I wonder how it feels if she stays in Haven Springs. So, if these were the choices that you made, please share your opinion about that. Do you feel that if Riley stays in town, we get to know her more? Do we get to spend more time with her and reveal other important bits of her personality? And of course, after talking about Riley, we will discuss Eleanor. I think Eleanor is absolutely brilliant. I think she's one of my favorite characters in this game, and I want to say why. She's fun and kind. Yes, what is happening to her is undoubtedly sad and devastating. She's struggling with memory loss and it is awful. But at the same time, she's still a business owner, she is the closest person to Riley, and she cares about her. Eleanor is an important member of the community and she is passionate about what she does. I loved talking to her during Spring Festival when she wanted to get drunk and have fun at the after party. And yeah, I would go to that after party with Eleanor for sure. I'm so glad that the developers of the game didn't just make Eleanor your typical older woman stereotype person. She's her own woman who is definitely still funny, passionate, and attractive. We see that she keeps up with social media and she's always polite and pleasant to talk to. Another thing that I love is that even though Eleanor struggles with serious illness, she never feels helpless, and of course there are situations in real life when it is unavoidable, unfortunately. But it is also good to acknowledge that it's not always the case, and sometimes people can and choose to be more independent. With Eleanor, we can clearly see that choice. I'm not entirely sure how exactly it is achieved, but I think mostly through little things. As I mentioned, she still runs her business. Yeah, with some mistakes, but she's still responsible and thorough. We can also see she gave money to Riley for a new computer for her studies. And yeah, she encourages Riley to go and follow her dreams. And Eleanor is sure that she's going to be okay even without Riley. She seems to have a plan on how to take care of herself, and you know, I believe her. So yeah, she's definitely one of my favorite characters in this game. And you know, she reminds me a lot of Win from Dragon Age Origins. I don't know if you played this game, I have it on my channel, and in Dragon Age, Win is a character who is also an older woman with a lot of witty and even flirty lines. And yeah, I see a lot of similarities between them, and I think they're both my favorite characters in their respective franchises. And here I would like to talk about another character that I like as a character. Please keep that in mind. Mac. So yeah, obviously he's not a nice person, okay, we see that. But I like how he's written. I like that he's not just your typical jerk who is absolutely disgusting and obviously bad. I like little nuances in his actions and words. He's very jealous and he punches Gabe, who everyone loves. So initially we get a very bad impression of him. And then at some point he denies the call, even though we as players clearly saw that the call happened. And then we get to see Mac's point of view. We see how terrified he is, how helpless he feels against such a huge corporation as Typhon. We see him struggling a lot throughout the events of Life is Strange True Colors. But overall we also get to see the other side of him, the side that Riley probably fell in love with. I didn't fall in love with him, okay? I mean, it was kinda fun when he flirted with Alex, but no, he's not my romantic interest.
No wonder you try to break up me and Riley.
Ugh. At the same time, yeah, he flirted a little with Alex, which was really funny. I enjoyed this moment a lot. It was completely unexpected and I appreciated it a lot. We also see in SMS that he thanked Alex for her help, and I think he was genuinely grateful. Is he the best person? No. Is it interesting to watch him as a character? For me, the answer is yes. And now let's talk about another negative character in this game called Jed. Jed is presented as a local hero who is respected by absolutely everyone in town. And he is a role model for everybody, including his friends, colleagues, and of course his son Ryan. We see that Jed helps out both Gabe and Alex when they need a place to live, and he is an owner of the Black Lantern, which is an establishment loved by residents of Haven Springs. When he is asked to participate in LARP event organized by Steph, he is all for it. He plays his role of a king with enthusiasm and passion. And as many players of this game noticed, there was a great example of foreshadowing when Jed the King was revealed to be Jed the Necromancer or another enemy depending on your playthrough choices. So yeah, he was one of the most active members of the community. And throughout the first part of the game, not even the first part, but 80% of the game, he seemed to be amazing. So I really wanted to ask you guys if you noticed that there was something off about Jed. Because if I'm being completely honest, I didn't. I liked him a lot. And I think that if it wasn't for the reveal, he would probably be one of my favorite people from Haven Springs. But to be honest, I didn't think that Jed's side of the story is fully developed. I want to know more about his motives. And I want to know more about how he lived all this time. Because Alex covered it a little bit when she said that Jed told this lie so many times he started believing it, but I think it's not enough for me. I want to see him struggle, but I just really wanted to get into his inner motives and to see other moments of foreshadowing for this character. I probably missed some of them, so again, please feel free to share. Also, I didn't get enough of his relationships with Ryan. Yeah, there were a couple of memories here and there, but I don't know how close they were. I don't know if Ryan was the most important person in Jed's life, because even when he was threatening Alex, I was sure he was doing it to keep Ryan safe, but he didn't even mention it. So what do you guys think? Now I would like to quickly mention Diane. To be honest, this is the character I'm most disappointed about. I think she had great potential being a pawn of a huge corporation, but this character feels a little bit empty to me. Let me tell you what I mean. When we were trying to get information out of her, we saw photos, we saw a cross and some other items that make us think she has some personal life. We also noticed her having all those negative emotions regarding the accident or murder to be exact. She feels fear, sadness, anger, but it's never fully developed. We don't know what she believes in. We don't know what she thinks is right. We can see that, yeah, she doesn't approve of covering all of this up, and she tries to stay protected from all of this, from how she can be blamed for what happened. But I don't see any motives, and I don't see any reservations from her, because, for example, we see a cross on her desk. So why not connect it to religion? Why not show us how much she struggles with covering up a murder in terms of her connection with God, for example? It could be a very interesting angle of the story. I really think so. Or perhaps we could explore the photo in her bag. We don't know who these people are, but maybe it's her relatives, and perhaps they need the money she earns from Typhon, because I assume it is a very well-paying job. I would love to see this, but we don't have it in the game. Maybe developers were cautious of us being sympathetic to Diane, but I don't think we would be, especially after the final scene where she almost calls Alex crazy and unstable. So yeah, I'm a bit disappointed about Diane's character, and I think she had a lot of potential. But it is okay, because in this game there are a lot of characters who we discussed and who have great storylines attached to them. So I don't think that Diane's character is such a major problem for the whole story. And now Duckie. Duckie is your typical comic relief at the beginning of this game, who, likes drinking and keeps saying wrong things at the wrong time, especially on the internet. But he often makes us smile, and for many players it stayed like this throughout the game. I was surprised to see that a lot of people missed a great moment between Alex and Duckie. For Duckie, annual Spring Festival in Haven Springs is special. It is the time when he proposed to his beloved Tabitha, and they danced together on that day, and then they were happy for many years. We see how much he misses her. We see how much he cared and how much he loved her. And for him, Spring Festival is a difficult day when he is surrounded by sadness. But then we have a chance to help him. Alex puts on the music and dances with Duckie in a beautiful moment. I loved it a lot when I was playing, and I appreciate that developers decided to give Duckie some depth. And to be honest, I think it's enough. With Diane and Riley, I wish we've seen much more, but with Duckie, I feel like he fulfilled his role in the best way possible. Another character who is just like Duckie for me is Pike. We don't know much about him, but it's not necessary for the game. Out of the main cast, Pike is probably the most secondary character of all. At the same time, I do appreciate the fact that he has some personality and background, as it would be very easy to create just your typical small-town cop for a couple of cutscenes in the game. I like that he had a personal connection to Gabe, and that he is realistic about how powerful and dangerous Typhon can be. At the same time, we can feel that he is trying to be a good guy, but it's hard for him to follow the law and his own conscience without pissing off the big shots. So, even though his role is small, it's both memorable and important for the story. And now probably the most controversial moment of this video. Here we are going to talk about Steph. Steph is okay. I don't have any strong feelings about Steph. I don't like her and I don't dislike her. For me, she's not interesting and I am sorry for that. I know a lot of people love her. I know a lot of people chose her as a romantic interest for Alex, and I get why. She's pretty, she's hot, she seems to be very independent, and she has a lot of opinions on her own, and she's also funny and a great friend. What's not to like about her, right? On paper, I understand, but she's just really not my type of person. I felt the same way about Chloe, but I took my videos of Life is Strange original game down, so you will probably not see it, at least not in the foreseeable future. But for me, they're kinda the same. They're both a little bit sassy and they're not afraid to break the rules when they need to. But I will admit that I like Steph more because, to me she seems more kind. I think it's my favorite quality about her. She's kind to Ethan especially, and to many other people in town when Alex left the wake and followed her to make sure Alex was okay. I don't know why I couldn't connect with Steph, why I couldn't care deeper about her, but that's what it is. But again, I do realize that she is a great friend to Ryan, Alex, and Ethan. Of course, I also understand that I probably missed some interesting moments with her because I didn't choose her as my romantic interest. And there is also another point I'd like to talk about here. I could definitely see that the game was pushing Alex and Steph's romance. There is chemistry that is undeniable between them, and if I would 100% roleplay this game as Alex, I would probably go for Steph.
My hand in marriage, and all of its associated benefits.
Because we can see that there is genuine connection between them. It is very obvious when they are playing together at Spring Festival and Steph just can't take her eyes off Alex. I can see that this is the romance that is naturally advertised by the game. However, I love to imagine myself as a character, and when I'm playing games like this, I'm essentially playing as the mixture of the protagonist and myself. And I wouldn't choose Steph. It's just not possible when Ryan is right there. So let's talk about my boy. Ryan is a nerdy cutie pie who is interested in nature and all the creatures that live in it. He's a little bit awkward and maybe even shy, but he appreciates his friends and people around him. He's also quite attractive and he works as a park ranger, if I'm not mistaken. For me, he's the opposite of Steph in terms of how I feel about him. With Steph, I can pinpoint the moments when Alex could slowly start falling in love with her, while with Ryan, for me at least, it feels a lot more gradual, I would say. With him, there are no specific moments. I just like their dialogue. I like what he is saying. I like how he behaves. Even at the wake, a lot of people on the internet are saying that Steph knew what Alex needed right away and Ryan was just in his own emotions. I can understand that, because he did blame himself for what happened. He was the person who cut the rope and he was Gabe's best friend. For him, it wasn't just about losing someone he cared about, like for Steph, for example, even though it is also undoubtedly horrible and painful. But Ryan also felt responsible for what happened, and that's why his emotions overtook him. By that point in the game, Ryan and Alex weren't really that close. So to me, if he would just leave in the middle of the wake and go after her, it would be quite strange. Through his SMS to Alex, we can also see that I think he was afraid to face her after what happened. I think he felt so guilty he couldn't really talk to Alex one-on-one right away. So yeah, it took a little bit of time, but then he was there for her, and he was the first person after Gabe to find out about Alex's power. And again, he was respectful about it, and when they became really close, he cared about Alex. Another moment is with the city council or town council, I'm not sure. In my playthrough, he didn't believe Alex right away, but as I mentioned in my Let's Play video, I would be shocked if he did. You see, we are talking about his father. We are talking about a person who is the closest to him, who is the town's hero for many, many years, and by that point of the story, that was the only parent Ryan had. And of course, for Ryan, it takes a minute to realize that his father is the person who is responsible for the greatest tragedy their town has ever seen. To be honest, even though I know it's an option in some playthroughs, I would be disappointed if he believed Alex right away, even after they kissed. Yeah, they liked each other and I have chosen him as a romantic partner, but the fact is, he doesn't know her that well. They technically just met, and his father has been with him for many many years, so yeah, his loyalties should lie with his father. So yeah, with Ryan, I like him as a character and I like him as a person. That's what I think, and I think he's adorable. I like him as a romantic partner for Alex and for me, and I think that they both deserve some fresh start in a new city or even a country somewhere in the world. And now the final part of this video, let's talk about Alex, our main protagonist. Alex is amazing. I have a crush on Alex. She is very attractive, creative, funny, smart, witty, and kind. She's trying to help people around her, and I love that she knows a perfect balance between being serious and being playful. Even though Alex's main interest is music, she's very open to other things the world has to offer. For example, she's quite enthusiastic when she hears about live-action role-playing. She makes an effort to understand and try it out and to genuinely have fun. She's also not against Ryan's nature documentaries, and I love how she's just exploring everything around her. Another thing I like about Alex is that she tries to be a better person all the time. Through her journal and memories, we can see that there were a lot of times when her power completely overtook her. She was hitting people and she knew it was wrong. It would be easy to just say, hey, it's not my fault, it's just this stupid power, but that's not what she does. She takes responsibility and tries to find ways to control that power she can't even fully understand herself. I feel incredibly grateful that we got to experience Life is Strange True Colors through Alex's eyes. She's a unique protagonist with her own interests, desires, and thoughts. She was incredibly determined to find out what really happened to Gabe, and she was ready to face the consequences of going against the corporation. She wanted to get the truth and to find out what happened to her brother, at the same time keeping in mind people who she cared about. And that is the main reason why in my playthrough I signed the document, but I also see the other choice being true to Alex. So I think that Alex, with all her qualities, feels like a real person. When you play as Alex, you feel deeply and you care about Haven Springs and people in it. I believe whether you decided to stay or leave Haven Springs, she will be happy. She will find ways to feel like she belongs because she is determined to do so. So I'm really grateful to all the people connected to this amazing game called Life is Strange True Colors. It is an incredible piece of art with great story and characters. So thank you. And thank you for watching this video. And I wish you all the most wonderful things and the best day possible. See you later. Bye!